Hey, we're back. Hey, guys. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Carvers and Creators, a weekly demonstration and discussion with sculptors, carvers, and multi-talented artists from around the world. If you're a fan of the show and you like what we do, give us a like and a follow on the platform you're watching us on, and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. My name is Paul Dever. I'm an artist and sculptor from Boston, Massachusetts, and with me, as always, is my amazingly talented buddy from Tucson, Arizona, Mr. Matt Harper.
You forgot handsome.
I didn't say that. I thought I said incredibly handsome.
Usually.
I black out. I get so nervous around you. Whew. Tonight, our guest is a world-renowned metal artist specializing in large-scale, one-of-a-kind, three-dimensional stainless steel sculptures. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Evan Stone.
Welcome. Oh my God.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Check it out.
This is ridiculous. I hear applause.
We get
Yeah, we need, I was gonna say we gotta a better applause than just like us saying welcome, because the rest of the world is watching.
I gotta tell you something. Reading that long line, that's a lot of words to throw in, and it still doesn't even do justice for how amazing Kevin's work is.
Not even close. I can't wait to uncover all of that stuff. It's gonna be this is like Paul and I like geek out on this in a big way, but also do everyone who watch us see what you put together. And anyway, I'm staggered, so we won't spend too much time fawning on you yet. Believe me, we'll do more of that later. So,
Kevin hour is upon us.
Exactly.
But what we like to do at the beginning of the show is we like to look back on what we did in the previous show. Now, we took a week off for the holidays, and happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah.
And so we have a couple of weeks of sculptures to look at, and this choice specific for this week was a cocky vampire. So that was an odd choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, Maddie, nice job with the hair there, buddy.
Thank you. I wanted to get kind of like this one was more of, okay, this was a green Hubbard squash, so not a regular round orange pumpkin, Kevin. So you kind of stuck with the shape of the thing you get. And this one kind of had a good head shape too, which was nice. And I even went with a little bit of a cowl, like, that they have, the vampires would have. But it was tall enough. I gave it some, cool Elvis looking hair. So he's super cocky.
He is cocky.
Looks awesome.
He's got his ass together. He's getting the ladies.
Exactly, the ladies. And this is yours, Paul.
That's awesome.
I was getting burnt out on pumpkins, and I hate to ever say that. I was just so sick of carving round objects. Usually I'll do something like so it doesn't look so just round, but I was just, and he doesn't look like when I was carving it in person, he looked cocky. He had this kind of like I'm gonna get the girl.
How big is that?
Paranoid.
How big is that?
That's probably only like a 20-pounder. It was like
almost.
That's like a big beach ball kind of deal.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. Not your scale, Kevin. Not your scale, but
Yeah, right.
But
tough to do.
Big for a pumpkin. And then we did. If we go back, we did. Oh no, this was Ted. Kevin. We have a co-host that joins us, the Hollywood legend, a fabricator from Hollywood, and his name's Ted. And Ted has jumped in with both feet and is carving with us now. And he did his own cocky vampire, and he's got the Ted smirk. Every one of his has a really cool little smirk on it. And he did a potato eye, so and kind of carved out the back, so there's a good a little bit different look than all orange like Paul and I are used to. Very cool.
It's awesome.
He's picking it up really fast. Now Ted's a foam fabricator, so he does a lot of the muscle suits and really intricate things. And it probably lays out the same way you have to lay out panels on your metal, right? It's all broken out to 3D form. He doesn't usually do this stuff, so it's very impressive.
One of the neat things different, because I've done some carving in the past as well, and my work is completely, when you're carving, you're working from the outside in. And when I'm metal doing what I do, I have to work from the inside out. So it's a totally different way of thinking. You have to plan the frame from the inside and then figure out how you're going to put a topping on it versus taking away material and coming up with your sculpture. So it's totally different. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's such when your brain gets into that mode of thinking and people are like, I don't understand how you do it. For you, it's just what you do, right?
Yeah.
You can see it a mile ahead.
And I don't use computers either. It's all visual. Yeah.
Wow, all your patterns and everything.
Everything's all old school with paper patterns and tape measure and chalk on the floor, whatever it takes. Yeah.
I get a tear to my eye.
Yeah. Old school, old school.
Yeah.
And Paul, we and the prior week I think we had a triclops.
This was an East German, right?
Yeah.
This was the last one, and then this one was Dan and Jonathan Miller. They're a couple of professional carvers, and the wheel landed on excited Thryclops. Not sure if it's a real word. If it isn't, maybe I'll patent it.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3 eyes. Sometimes we're gonna do something like that. Yeah, this one came out great, Matty. I love the use of light in this. Came out great too.
Yeah, this one was a fun one. If you can tell now, Paul and I are pumpkin purists, but if you look closely, you can see he was starting to kind of go bad. Like in the teeth, you can start seeing those little lines. As you dig into a pumpkin, it starts kind of getting mealy and gross. Yeah. And towards the end of the season, it's inevitable. So we had what we could get, but so he didn't get super deep and therefore super detailed. But I made a happy guy with 3 eyes. That was kind of the. Awesome. That was the thing. So there he is. So
yeah.
And then, Paul, this one was yours.
I did the same thing. I'm just
wow.
And I shied away from 3 open eyes because I haven't had burnout like this in a while from carving pumpkins.
I know.
And I was like, I just got to get it done.
October is a rough month for us. We do quite a few, as you can imagine. That's
right.
People care about pumpkins.
Yeah, but this was in December. That's why I had burnout. You're carving just that same medium, and
it's amazing though the lifeness that you guys put into your work. I mean, that thing looks like it's going to open its other 2 eyes any second. So yeah, it's awesome.
Thank God it didn't. And first of all, I know I'd have delirium and burnout, so I definitely hit the bottom if I was hallucinating.
Wow.
Well, and our okay, this was Ted's. I think this is right.
I love what he's doing with the eyes, with the reversing things. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah, he uses the teeth. The seeds become teeth. It's very cool. And then we had we had two submissions. One from
that was a couple 100-pound pumpkin though.
Yeah, wow. Big massive one. And then that was Dan's brother.
Jonathan,
and then this was Dan's. So he even made a little hat out of the top of the butternut squash and made the nose into another eye. I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah, looks great. He's quick too. He's very quick.
Too fast.
Great job, guys. Great job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you saw what we did, and this is how we get to where we get our anxiety carving from, and it's the wheel. It's a hellish thing we chose to do, and I don't know why we choose to do it, but here she is in all her glory. That's a center spinner. So what we're going to do, I'm going to spin it twice. The first spin will be the character that we have to carve. The second spin will be the attribute or emotion that we have to apply to the carving. So our choices tonight are demon, primate, old, guest choice, so have one ready, undead, fantasy animal, Viking, villain, baby, or hillbilly. The second spin will be confused, exhausted, expired, guest choice once again, crazy, cocky, excited, furious, sad, or flustered. Oh boy. Choice.
Why do we do this, Paul?
You know why? Because we love it.
That's right.
Because it's fun. Because we get to hang with guys like Kevin here.
I know. I like it.
Demon.
A demon. Okay.
Demon. All right. I can roll with demon right now.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, but what is the demon going to be? Is it going to? Oh, here we go. A sad
baby demon.
Just a sad old baby Viking demon.
Okay, a sad demon. I'm going to put that in the comments so that folks that Kevin, we're blessed that people at home will actually carve along with us and post them.
Awesome.
Johnny's chiming in early. Hello, Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny's saying once he watches this, he's going to start metal sculpture.
That's right.
Yeah, be careful.
Let's just pick up another hobby.
Yeah, right.
Sad. What is he again? Sad demon. Okay.
Sad demon. Okay. Well, at this point in the show, before we carve, it's bad luck. I don't know if it's bad luck, but it is tradition at this point that we go around the horn and see what everybody has for a beverage, or as we like to call it, our carving oil. specifically because we're not as young as we used to be. And we get stiff, and sometimes you need a little inspiration. What's my inspiration? So a libation usually helps with that.
Yeah, it's mental exercise as well, mental stretching.
Right, exactly. Shaking out the cobwebs, as they say.
Although Kevin probably doesn't enjoy a libation while he's carving with 200 pounds of metal over his head, like 1,000. Yeah, probably after he's done, maybe.
Sharp stainless steel. Boy, that stuff will cut you quick. All right, Maddie, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm having a Coca-Cola Zero today, and I poured it into a glass that may or may not have some bourbon in it.
Okay, all right. You had me nervous for a second.
No. I'm still on the wagon. Or
I don't know. I saw a new tattoo. I was thinking maybe there was like a 1-month sobriety chip and a story to go along with it.
No, the opposite.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's even better. All right, I'll go
How about
next.
you?
All right,
Yeah.
I'll go next. I have a double IPA, and I haven't been drinking beer lately. I've been trying to stick to the wine, and it's from Springfield, Massachusetts, from a brewery called 2 Weeks Noticed. It's called Never Say Die, and it just reminded me like the Pink Floyd The Wall album cover, so I gravitated towards it. And it's actually
double IPA. So it's got a whole lot of good stuff in it, huh?
My eyes are going right. So this is getting hotter and hotter for me. It's a I don't think it doesn't say it doesn't say there it is. It's an 8%er. 16 FLOZs and 8%. So perfect. And I haven't been drinking beer lately, so that's enough. That's plenty.
Yeah, that's plenty. That's plenty. Kevin, how about you?
Well, I'm on antibiotics, so
that's right.
I'm on water.
That's what everybody drinking vodka says.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you a speedy recovery because I know you were under the weather through Christmas.
We can definitely toast to water. It's okay. We're cool.
There we go. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to everybody.
Absolutely.
Right. So now we can dive into what we came here for.
Oh.
Look at this shite. Are you kidding me? This is unbelievable.
What I love about this, so this you talked at the very beginning about the paper, the patterns. So this is a great example, right? This is where you're using some of those, and then you take those down and make metal panels out of it. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, so once the paper's on there, I basically just use the paper to shape and cover the framework. And then I'll draw patterns of where I want the seams to be after I'm making it in metal. And then even though the paper's kind of all over the place, I'll actually figure out how I want that paper to be cut and then transfer that into the metal and make each panel by hand, and then transfer that on and go to the next piece of paper and work that way. So yeah, one piece at a time.
Wow. It's staggering because, obviously when you look at, now I think this dragon that we're looking at here, I think we're going to see other photos of it, but is one of many, I think, that go viral and are crazy because I recall, this is a photo from your studio up in Canada, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And now you're in Las Vegas, so hey, Las Vegas, watch out. But needless to say, but I mean, like, I always, in my mind, my first thought when I saw this in your studio, I was like, how's that going to get out the door? I just don't even.
Yeah, it barely did. It barely did. I literally, the body actually went out with about a 3/4 of an inch clearance, so the body was okay. The wings. If you look in the background near the ceiling there, you can see the spikes or the tips of the wings. I actually had to design them to be able to screw on. Otherwise, there was no way of getting them out the door. So each wingtip screwed on those spikes. And the wings, we actually, I would say, damaged the door just a little bit, put some scratches in it because it had to come out on a 45, and it didn't really. One of the wings fought us getting through the door, but it did make it. It was a 12 by 12 door, and on a 45, the wing on a certain angle with forklifts and about 10 guys helping us managed to inch it through the door and get it out. But it was a real chore to get it out of the building without knocking a wall down, but we did it.
Amazing.
Now, where does this lovely creature reside?
So it actually went to Torkerville, Utah, up in the mountains of Utah. The client started off. The original project was for a roundabout in um, Rancho Rancho Santa Fe up in California. He lived in a kind of an uppity neighborhood where basketball players and stuff are, and he had a big roundabout, and he wanted the dragon in his roundabout, and he wanted it to shoot fire down his driveway when people came up the driveway. And so that was the original plan. And then halfway through the project, he sold his house in California and moved on to a yacht in Miami, in Florida. And for a year during the project build, he lived on a yacht and didn't really have a plan to where he was going to put it, and changed his mind. He was going to move to Puerto Rico, and then we were looking at shipping it all the way out to Puerto Rico. And then after a year of living on this boat with his family, I guess they were all at each other's throats. And all of a sudden, he pulled the trigger and bought a big home up in the mountains of Utah, which was totally opposite of what he was planning. So then which actually made it easier for me, because now we're just doing a land move up into the mountains of Utah, and it went on 3 semi trucks with pilot cars up into the mountains of Utah, and that's the last time I've seen it. I haven't seen it installed. He didn't want to pay me to fly me down and install it for whatever reason. I have no idea. And we kind of had a falling out during the end of the project, and I haven't spoken to him since. So I have no idea what the state or condition of my giant, beautiful dragon is in.
Okay.
What?
Can I ask him, I may ask a dumb question. Is this person in like the YouTube world?
No, he was in marketing in California. He had a marketing business from what I learned about him. He travels. He travels the world with his family continually on very long vacations. He homeschools his kids, and they travel all over the world on like 6-month vacations. So I'm not really sure if it's just sitting there uninstalled and he just hasn't gotten around to it yet because of his travel, or what. I have no idea.
Wow.
It just sounds like an influencer to me, like one of those kind of people.
Really? Because I'm thinking he marketed cocaine.
I don't know. I was going to go on lifelong vacations too, but I decided, I better.
They call themselves the Fantasy Family, and I think that's where the dragon. So originally he was at Dollywood looking at my eagle, and that's when he called me, and he wanted an eagle. It was supposed to start off as a big eagle like the one at Dollywood. And then I told him during our conversation, I said, I can build anything. It doesn't have to be a big eagle. And then he came up with the idea of a Game of Thrones dragon. And at the time, I didn't even know what a Game of Thrones dragon was. I hadn't watched the series. So my wife and I went home and binge watched Game of Thrones, and then I realized what I had agreed to, and that's where the dragon came about. So.
Wow. Okay. I don't want to hold on too much on that because we have a million pictures. But when did that start? Because if I figure, was that like early Game of Thrones, like the very beginning?
No, I just started the Game of Thrones dragon in 2020.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Yeah, I just finished it last January. So it's a year. It's a year from completion, basically right now.
Okay. Well, how about this guy?
So this guy I just installed about on my birthday, September 20th. I installed him, and
wow, really?
they were both 2-year projects.
Wow!
Oh my gosh! Wow! Can I ask? This is probably another dumb question. I got a million, Paul. Sorry. When it comes to like your crew, I know you've got a large group of folks that assist you, or
no,
at least
it's me and my wife.
Well, you were talking about like helping people. I guess maybe moving it. Maybe that was the only thing, right? It's just.
I had a moving. Well, he had hired a moving crew to help. The logistics company had hired guys to kind of come and help because it had to have some platforms to move the wings and stuff. But my wife and I hired an apprentice 2 years ago, and we had another fellow. So we had an apprentice working with us, and then I hired another fellow named Brandon as a welder to help me with the T-Rex. So he did a bunch of TIG welding for me. But
Wow.
most of the work has just been me and my wife.
Wow,
Oh
that's
my
amazing.
goodness. Okay.
Now,
That's
how
even
many
more-
field welds are there when you go to install this? How many field welds?
None.
Cut it out.
Wait a
It's
minute.
all bolt together.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Not
So-
only is he a sculptor, he's a magician.
How are you not an engineer by trade? That's crazy.
Wow.
Well, I
That
was a tradesman in the field as a iron worker, metal fabricator, and just many years in the steel industry. My whole career, and I've worked with some engineers, and to work with an engineer that doesn't understand art is really tough because they are very by the book and very square and that type of thing, and they don't understand how sculptures go together or my vision. The problem is again that I don't work off of computer drawings, I work in my head. So to try to put what's in my head onto a computer and have an engineer figure out how it's going to work in the end, sometimes I don't even know what I'm building until it's finished, so it's a very difficult task to work with. It's the hardest thing I have in doing what I do is working with an engineer, because you can't get into my head, and maybe in the future computers will get there, but I don't know.
They'll never catch you, believe me, Kevin.
Yeah.
Now, for the most part, what gauge is the stainless?
So all the sheet metal is all the sheet metal itself is 18 gauge. This is all in heat treated steel. So I used a torch to get all the color that you see, and I actually had to use a coating to protect it from rust. So
Oh,
most of the work I do, like the big shiny ones, that's all 304 polished stainless steel. So there's no finishing work, but other than polishing. But on this piece, was one of the first large scale pieces I've done in mild steel, and unfortunately, there's no perfect coating out there, and I don't even know the state of its condition. It could have some severe rust problems already. I don't know, but the coating I put on it is called Penetrol, and it is pretty durable and bonds pretty good to steel to protect it from rust. But there's really no perfect coating for raw metal. So
Right. Well, after the fallout, I'm pretty sure that you might be maybe hoping for a little rust on
yeah,
it.
it was really unfortunate. I put my heart and soul into that piece, and for a person that is wealthy enough to kind of finish the project off and have me install it and put some media behind the installation and stuff. It was really disheartening. I never like to talk bad about clients, but he's one that I'd prefer to put in my rearview mirror. So
so
Wow. There you
I guess
go.
the check cleared. I guess let's just call it that, right?
yeah.
But it still sucks because you did put so much yourself into it. That's
Yeah. This is another 2-year project that you've just posted. So that was my Chinese dragon I built in 2008 and unveiled it in 2009.
Okay.
That's
Amazing. think
I
we got a
can't
couple
believe
stuff.
that's just the geometry alone to do that by hand is
Yeah.
unbelievable. And you said you're an iron worker. You're a metal fabricator by trade, so there's no art school or this.
No, I was just a natural artist as a kid.
Wow.
I kind of grew up around cars and Conan and vans, the old 70s vans with Conan and dragons and monsters on the. I was a real big fan of monsters. So some of the carvings you guys are doing, I used to draw faces like that. I'm a face drawer. I love drawing monster faces and creature faces and character faces and cartooning. I was probably leaning towards being a professional cartoonist as a kid, and and then life gets in the way. Work gets in the way, and then you have kids, and then art just disappeared after I was probably 12 or 14. I never really did a whole lot of art, and as a kid, I had an adult level artist talent. I could do black ink drawings. I could draw any Conan or Red Sonja, anything like that at 10, 11, 12 years old. I could do really good Conan type black and white type art. And that's a lot of it. My art skills stem from that. I used to draw cars, funky cars, the old magazine cartoons. I used to
Oh yeah.
I used to be a copy artist, so I would look at cartoons and then I would copy the art on a large page and kind of make it my own. And that's what taught me art. And I've always had a passion. My uncle was a bit of an artist. My dad was kind of a sketcher and a cartoonist and a bit of an artist. And we used to play drawing games, where you make the squiggle and then try to make a drawing out of it and stuff,
Yeah, we do that too. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so fun.
So those are kind of fun, great things that when you're a kid, to get your kid interested in art, and that's kind of what I did. I've gone from never picking up an airbrush to picking up an airbrush and doing a 3-dimensional, hood for a Corvette, and it looked like a pro did it, and it's just natural for me. Art is natural. I can carve, I can paint, I can draw, I can pick up an air gun and paint a car, and you'd think I'd been painting for years. It's just kind of a natural process for me, and the metal art was too. I had never done metal art, and then I picked it up and just started putting stuff together, and it worked. So then I wanted to do something right from the get-go and do nothing but large pieces. I just focused on I wanted to be known for doing the world's largest metal art, and that's kind of where I've been following that path for the last 20 years now.
Wow,
amazing.
Wow. Well, we're going to talk about some of the size, the scale. We've already seen some of that, but this eagle, and I know the eagle at Dollywood and others are another signature of yours. These like ridiculously expressive, but yet steel and very shiny, beautiful pieces like that. I mean, so do you spend much time? Clearly, you're not a sculptor to draw them up. Do you spend much time kind of drawing them up from every angle, like yourself, or do you?
Almost all of my birds, I just go online. Like this was based on a like a young falcon, is what I was doing for this one, or a hawk. Mm-hmm. And I was, so this piece that you're particularly looking at, I was contacted by the Big Boys Toys, and they were doing a show here in Vegas. And I was running my hot rod shop, which is kind of in the background there. And I had no pieces at the time, and there's a little bit of a story behind it. But I had a couple of bad business partners in a row, and they were greedy and tried to overprice my work and basically put me out of business. Oh. And like the Chinese dragon that you were just looking at, they put a $10 million price tag on that. And which was ludicrous, and literally it was ludicrous, and it put me out of work, and that's why I ended up opening the hot rod shop. And I was disgruntled, and it was about 3 years of building cars before my wife convinced me to go back and do my art. And it slowly started with doing some small eagles and stuff, and then I got the opportunity. That the Big Boys Toys in Las Vegas asked me to lease a space and bring something down and display it in Las Vegas. And I thought, what a great opportunity to sell something significant in Las Vegas. And that's where the previous eagle that you just had, the falcon there, that piece there was designed specifically to bring to Vegas. And just as I finished it, this is just before COVID. And just as I finished it, COVID struck and the show was canceled. Oh. And so I had built this for 9 months, put quite a bit of time, money, and effort into building this piece. And then I basically had to stick it in the corner and go back to cars and hopefully try to find a buyer. I put it on Marketplace and just kind of sat on it. It made the newspaper and did some things locally, but I didn't really have a sale for it. And then it was shortly after this piece that the client with the Game of Thrones dragon contacted me, and we signed the deal by Christmas time. And so during COVID, I started on, right when COVID was kind of hitting us, I had started the project for the dragon, and that kind of kept me busy while COVID was going on. And as I posted pictures on social media about the dragon, and I had a client call me from Miami wanting actually to buy the dragon out from the client I was building it for.
Oh.
And I said, it was a commission and not for sale, but I had a big falcon for sale. And he ended up buying it. So this falcon now resides at the iconic collection and supercar gallery in Miami. And it's an amazing gallery in Miami where this piece is now featured.
That is ridiculous. Okay. Well, I love that backstory. I love that. Especially the fact that it found a home. That's the best part.
That's all I care about. I just want to see my pieces out in the public and enjoyed by the public. But a lot of my pieces go to private clients and they're never seen again. So I only have a few that are actually visible to the public. One of them, of course, being the Dollywood Eagle.
The Dollywood Eagle. Let's talk about that. Right there. Great segue. Fantastic segue. So my little touch of this is I've never even thought about going to Dollywood. My extended family says, hey, let's all go meet up in they live on the East Coast, I live on the West Coast. Let's all go meet up in Pigeon Forge. I'm like, what is that? So we went out to Dollywood, and I was talking to Kevin before the show started. I'm like, how enamored I was by seeing this in front of this. Is it a Screaming Eagle? I think is the name of something like that. The name of it I can't remember, but it's a massive,
the Wild Eagle.
Wild Eagle.
Yeah, it's the Wild Eagle. Yeah,
one of the best roller coasters I've ever been on.
And, it was the first winged roller coaster to come to North America. So it was the first winged roller coaster where you were strapped in and your legs dangled below it.
Legs dangle and you're on the either side of the track. So the track is like above your shoulder to the right, or whatever. But you're literally just like flying. It is ridiculously cool. But this even makes it better. I think Dollywood did a great thing in grabbing this from you because it just totally sets the whole thing off. And it's anyway.
It was awesome.
The scale of this is ridiculous as it looks. It's just
So that piece there is about 10,000 pounds and has a 55-foot wingspan.
Wow.
They actually have it listed, I think, on the plaque at 48, but it was actually 55.
Well, I'm gonna have to talk to some people at Dollywood.
Next time I'm there, I'll take a shopping.
Just, we'll break the tape measures up. It's stunning. It's stunning to see. And this is speaking of Dollywood, right? I mean,
so that one I just installed about 5 months ago. Oh, okay. Not even, probably closer to. Yeah, it was right around the same time as the T-Rex, just before the T-Rex.
Okay. So cool. And
you're in pretty good with Dolly, huh?
Yeah. It's funny. We've been going to the mail every day. So in the picture there, in the blue shirt, that's Houston Wood, and he's just a young fella in charge of all the construction that goes on at Dollywood and these big resorts and stuff. Fabulous young guy, super nice guy, great guy to work with, and he reached out to me and said that he has a package for me for Christmas, and I don't know what it is, and it never arrived yet, and we're still waiting, and I don't know if it's something from Dolly or something signed, or I have no idea. So we're still in the waiting and hoping to see what it is.
Okay, this is probably a bad question because you talked about some of your larger scale stuff taking a long time to do. This is a beautiful door. And was there anything else with this this piece that you did with all the leaves and everything? Was there any other sculptures attached to this?
No, it's a two-piece sculpture. So it's a frame with the doors and then the header above it that you see me welding in there. Okay. And I had to work with a water jet or a water jet CNC company to do the Heart Song lettering in there. Okay. But everything else is all hand fabricated. All the frame and everything's all hand fabricated. Dolly is in multiple layers of half-inch plate, and it's very heavy. That whole bottom section is probably 700 pounds, and the top section is probably 200 pounds. Okay. And that's basically the representation is Dolly is a little girl sitting on a hillside under an oak tree with a butterfly in her hand. And then in the picture behind Dolly, there's a larger butterfly. And it was just to represent kind of a country scene of Dolly as a little girl sitting under an oak tree. Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, and there she is.
And the coloring was the most challenging part of this whole project. So all that antiquing black look, that's all done with gun bluing and clear coats, and then the colors that you see in the leaves are different types of oils like peanut oils and car oil and different types of oils using a torch and flame to bring out the colors of the metal. And then everything is sealed in a final clear coat and to give it that look that you see there. So
wow, so beautiful. Cool. It's just
absolutely beautiful,
stunning. It's just stunning. You do faces. Clearly, this is ridiculous. I mean, this scale is just staggering to me because Paul and I are kind of enamored with the human face and the monsters and everything else. But tell us about this.
So that was a cryptocurrency project that was Elon Musk, and I was contacted by Danny Wang out of California. So what you're looking at is a 6-foot tall head of Elon, and it's made entirely out of 1/8-inch thick aluminum.
Wow!
And it's all hand fabricated, piece by piece, mostly in hexagons, and then hexagons all welded together and ground and blended and kind of a natural satin finish. There was no coating put on it. But back in 2018, my daughter came out of the bathroom after browsing on, I think she was on Twitter, and Elon's profile had my Chinese dragon as his profile picture.
No way.
And we were like, what? That's crazy. Of all the things in the world that Elon would have, it's my dragon as his profile picture on Twitter. So we thought that was pretty neat. I took a screenshot of it and saved it, and that was really cool. And then I was in the middle of the T-Rex and middle of the dragon build, and I got a call from Danny Wang out of California. And Danny Wang is a designer in California, well-known designer for doing like 5-star resort style pools behind people's houses and stuff, like amazing stuff. And he contacted me and didn't tell me who his client was, but he wanted a 50-foot goat with Elon's head as the goat's head. And then he wanted the goat riding a rocket on the back of a Tesla semi-trailer.
Oh my God.
With the rocket shooting fire and blasting off to Mars. And he also wanted a big representation of Mars on the back of the semi-trailer. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And so we talked back and forth a little bit, and then I put together some numbers to do the whole project. So it would have been a 50-foot goat body with Elon's head as the goat. And it strapped mounted to a big rocket on the back of a big semi-trailer. And I didn't know who it was for, and I kind of assumed it might be for Elon. I thought it was some kind of crazy promotional product that he was wanting to promote, or I had no idea what it was. And anyway, it after we locked the project down, it ended up being EGT, which is Elon Goat Token. It's a cryptocurrency company out of Phoenix, Arizona. And they were promoting their token when crypto was doing quite well. So crypto actually crashed during this project when we were starting on it, and it was just bad timing, but it ended up being finished, and I believe there's probably a few pictures in your gallery somewhere that shows the finished product with the goat body and the head and everything on it. But it actually made world news. So it was unbelievable. I was on CNN, Wall Street Journal, every big news station and all over the world. It was in Israel, Turkey, Africa. It was in California to New York, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Texas. It was crazy. The publicity was awesome. Both good and bad. Of course, it's Elon. So you get the haters and you get the people that worship him, and you get everything in between, and it was just such a crazy project. I couldn't say no. I had to be a part of it. And it was my first time doing a face. So that was extremely challenging, and I love challenges. So
nailed it.
Yeah.
You know what I love about when people say they can't stand Elon Musk? Those are the same people driving Teslas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Or sitting in their mother's basement, one of the two. you
Right.
know?
Oh yeah. That's complaining about everybody else.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't see the finished picture of it. I'm looking for it right now.
Oh yeah,
We
just
were talking about
Google
this earlier.
Elon Goat Monument on Google Images. You'll find
Okay.
pages and pages and pages.
I just love the fact that it's called like the Elon goat. I mean, being like calling him the goat, basically.
Yeah,
Too.
the goat. Yeah,
Yeah.
they are all huge super fans of Elon, and it was a really cool project to be a part of. In fact, they had given me, not as part payment, but they had given me their token, quite a large sum of token that they launched. They gave me
Oh,
almost 20 million in token,
Whoa.
and it was worth almost $100,000 when the project started. And
oh,
as soon as it crashed, I think I was just looking at it the other day. I've held on to it. I haven't sold it. I've still
yeah.
held on to it, and it's hovering around 12 or $1,300 right now. So hopefully one day Ethereum and crypto will get some,
A
recovery
rebound.
back. I don't know. We'll see.
Right. Get a rebound. I love that. So when it comes to like those type of projects, and I mean, you clearly have a group of folks who follow you, like you, and want you to create things for them that have deep pockets, depending on the state of the affairs at that moment. But when it comes to you and I were talking about kind of one of the next things you're working on, a very large scale. I don't know if you want to talk about that one or not. Like some of the
Well, I
upcoming
have a few
projects.
big projects that aren't locked down yet. And, obviously I don't want to say too much because they're not mine yet. Until the dotted line is signed and I have a deposit, nothing's real.
Right.
So, but yeah, I've been inquired about doing a 50-foot stainless steel Jesus, and that would be an awesome project to be involved in, and I'm hoping that we can work with the client and make that happen. That would be a crowd-funded project, so it'll take a little while to raise the funding for it. In the meantime, I'm going to be working on some designs and trying to put together a proper quote, so we know exactly what a project of this scale is going to cost us.
I
So,
can only imagine.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, again, going through, we got a myriad of other photos here. I want to go back to one really quick. That I think again, Paul brought it up a minute ago, but it's this one. It's your dragon.
Yes.
This when you talk about like kind of creating something from just it comes out of your mind and not entering it into a computer. This almost looks impossible to do without doing that. I mean, so I guess my question is from a when you think of it in your mind, you talked about building it from the inside out and just putting the skin on it. So like walk me through like how do you start with this as a drawing and then you build it
underneath what you see there. So I actually started with the head, and I built the head on an engine stand.
Okay.
So where you would build an engine, I had that head mounted so I could roll it side to side and kind of work on it. And I started with the head. The head actually took me like 6 months. The head was very difficult. A lot of fabrication with all the spikes. The polishing was punishing. This was the first polishing job to this scale that I did where, there was a year's worth of polishing with a grinder in my hand, and I even hired a friend of mine to help me polish and literally taught him how to polish so he could help me. And it was one of those persevering jobs where you just got to get to the end, and it's going to take whatever it takes to get there. I had a private backer, so this wasn't a commission for an individual. This was a project that I came up with to target basically, like the Bellagio in Vegas or something. It was something that I thought would look amazing in a big water fountain, something that could be in front of a big hotel, a city center, something that would have a big water feature. And so I wanted to do a water dragon. So I actually did some research into Chinese mythology, feng shui, the whole works. I incorporated all the symbols of feng shui into the piece. There's some really neat elements to the piece that you don't see in a single picture like this. So if you're behind the dragon at the tail, at the bum end of it, you can look up through the coils, and the ball is the center feature in the center of the dragon from behind. So if you're on the opposite side of this picture, looking through the neck, you can actually see the ball. So the energy of the ball is part of the feng shui, and the energy through north, south, east, and west is not blocked. So the energy of the ball can travel through the dragon without impedance through the coils. It can travel through his neck, so there's the energy through his neck isn't broken from the ball. And then, of course, both the front and side that you're looking at is open. A really neat feature that I didn't plan is through the neck. If you're looking from the other side and you look at the ball from the other side of the neck, you can see the entire dragon in the reflection of the ball. I don't know how it worked, but you can see from the head to the tail of the dragon all in the visual picture of the ball. I have a picture somewhere in my galleries on my computer that actually show the reflection of the dragon in the ball from the other side. And I don't know how it shows the whole dragon, but it shows the whole dragon. It's really neat.
Ridiculous. Yeah. One of those happy accidents, I guess we'll call it. Right?
Happy accident. Yeah.
And did you design the sphere as well?
I did, yes. So I actually mirror polished that ball. It's a 48-inch stainless steel ball. And I built it using 2 engine stands with a rod, and the rod ran through. There was a hole in the middle of the ball at the top, and then, of course, at the bottom. And then I put the 2 halves together using a big round stainless rod through the ball. And the 2 halves are spun at a head spinning company. So they make tops for like breweries and stuff like that. And they spun the 2 halves into 2 spheres for me, and then I welded them and fit them all together so I could get a nice perfect fit. And then I TIG welded it all up, ground all the welds down. Then I spun it on that round bar. I used a grinder and a flapper wheel, and I spun it and polished it into a mirror finish. And then I installed it on the finished dragon after it was all polished, and it just disappeared. All that mirror finishing just kind of blended into the claw, and it blended into the dragon, and it just didn't look like the big pearl. I wanted it to represent a big pearl because it was a water dragon. And so I was really kind of disheartened. I had spent weeks and weeks and weeks of mirror polishing that ball, and a friend of mine had a hot rod shop at the time, and I've been a car builder for many, many years, and I reached out to him and took the ball there and had them. We started looking at how I wanted to paint it, because I didn't want to do your typical white pearl. I wanted to do something that was different and that was stand out, and that's actually automotive color changing paint. So that's the kind of paint that when you walk around it, it kind of changes color as you look at it, and it's got pinks and purples and blues and greens that you can see in it. But it really looks impressive when you see it up close, and so that's what I ended up choosing and painting, and it really made it pop. It gave it some contrast.
So cool. Wow.
I'm not gonna lie, it might be worth 10 million.
Maybe to the right market at the right time, there is that possibility, because I've seen sculptures sell for up to 40 million that weren't as impressive as far as hand fabrication and details go. When you see this piece in person, when I first unveiled it, there wasn't a single scratch on that entire sculpture. Wow. No welds were visible. Every weld was polished to mere perfection. And there literally wasn't a single scratch on that entire sculpture. But I was a new artist at the time. That was only my third at the time, large scale piece. And nobody knew me. And I had, I'm on a farm in Chilliwack in the middle of nowhere, Canada. And nobody saw it. Nobody's seen it.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Well, the the ball. I think I saw some photographs on your site that had, I think your wife standing next to it.
That's a different ball.
Is it a different one? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just did another piece called Pearl of the Ocean, and that went down to a house in Cabo, Mexico. And it has the same size ball, but painted a different color. And it's mounted to the top, or it's just, again, we're still waiting for the house to be finished before they unveil the sculpture. So we won't see that finished sculpture until maybe sometime this coming summer when the house is finished. It's a 16,000 square foot house on the beach in Cabo.
It's probably one of mine, if I recall. Maybe I don't know. I can't remember how many I have now. I'm down
Houses?
There. Yeah, houses in Cabo.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like something I would have.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Unbelievable. I every time I look at this one, I'm just like, I'm staggered by the symmetry of it and how perfect every little line of it is, and knowing that each one of those panels and pieces were bent, welded, inserted, and that's what makes me even more crazy is that that a computer didn't even enter into the equation.
The only computer that was used was the scales that you see there. They were all mass cut on a water jet for me, because they were just too multitude to cut by hand. So it made sense. While I was polishing all those spikes that you see down his back, as I was building and polishing all those, the water jet was being cut for me. But all the belly scales, those are all actually cut by hand with a power shear, like a handheld Makita power shear. All the triangle spikes were all hand cut by my handheld power shear. All the pieces for the head and teeth and tongue and feet, everything was all hand fabricated and hand cut.
Oh.
So the same gauge. This is geeky, probably.
Now that was actually all 16 gauge, so that's a little heavier material. And I learned my lesson that I didn't need to work with such heavy material. It was too hard to work with by hand, because all my tools are all hand tools. I don't have any big equipment or water tables, plasma tables, nothing like that. Everything's cut with a power shear.
Oh,
Jesus. Maddie, we were talking about this earlier about how beautiful and high def your photos are that you sent. So I had to cut down the deck, but look.
Oh, here we go. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, so that's the Pearl for the Pearl of the Ocean, and it's the same size, made by the same company. I did it the same way. I spun the two halves, welded it together, had my painter that used to work for me at my hot rod shop paint it for me, and it's done in a color changing pearl. Now, normally this color would be painted over black, so you really get the rainbow effects, but we wanted the look of a pearl, so we painted it over a Mercedes pearl white and then put the color changing effects over top of that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Beautiful. Now, are you sure your wife didn't do it? Because she seems to be in the picture, and she seems to be, I think maybe she had a little hand in there. I really can't wrap my mind around how perfect it is.
Yeah, it's perfectly round. It's
well,
amazing.
I certainly have to give credit to the head spinning company. They're very good at what they do, but this is the largest that they can do is 48 inches.
That's humongous, though. How much does it weigh?
It's actually not bad because it's hollow. It's made out of 1/8 inch steel, and then cleaned and prepped and primered and body worked and then painted. But it probably weighs, with the stand, about 220 pounds.
That's not bad at all for a 48-inch round steel ball.
Yeah.
So incredible.
Gorgeous, man. I'm just so impressed.
But then going back, Paul, to the scale of what we just were looking at.
Oh, there you go.
Here we go. There it is.
So I was originally tasked with doing the whole project, but what ended up having is a company out of Phoenix, Arizona. They did the rocket and the goat body, and I just ended up doing the head.
Oh my goodness.
The head's the best part.
That's crazy.
Honestly. What is it?
You
What
know,
is it
it's
about Elon's
pretty
head?
stressful when you're told to make something look like somebody that
Yeah,
you don't
that's
really get
yeah,
paid if it doesn't look like them, you know?
Right.
yeah.
Oh my God. And to the scale.
They have a video that they took. They went to Beverly Hills and took it through Rodeo Drive, and it was pretty awesome.
Oh wow,
Oh, that's so cool.
wow. And that's all on the back of it. Looks like it's like the multi-wheel.
Yeah,
wow.
it's a low bed semi trailer. They were originally planning to do it on a Tesla truck, but they weren't out and weren't available. So they just worked with the trailer that they had. The hydraulics that you see there, it does go up and down hydraulically, and in the back of the rocket, it's all set up with gas, and it shoots sparks and fire, and there's a big stereo and lighting, and they dressed him up for Christmas and took him around last year and did a toy drive and put a big Santa hat on him and
Oh, so
stuff. So
he still comes out.
it was some pretty cool marketing.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it.
It's insane, absolutely insane. And Kevin, I hate to say it, we're getting close to the end of our show. Which
I see that. Boy, that hour went fast.
Does
dude,
go
I told you, and I think so. So one of the things I wanted to just at least bring up to the folks who are watching us now is like, you've moved from Canada to Las Vegas. So, but and you also have a new website as well, or not a new website, but a revamped. Right? Is that correct?
Yeah, so I had an older website, and I just, it had, none of my new contact information. None of my new projects hadn't been updated since 2015. So now the new website has the dragon on it and has Elon on it. And we're still not done updating. There'll be another couple of months of updates to go into it. But it's definitely a much more powerful website than I used to have. So, and that's the correct website there. That's Kevin Stone Metal Art.
Perfect. Okay, based on the pictures that you shared with us, that are these crazy high res ones, you could just be enamored like we are, just stare at it for hours and like be like, wait, how, what? And then now that you've met Kevin, you kind of know that what magic goes into it. That this is hand done, and even more mind boggling to me is like, with everything being so automated, so CGI, but movies, but I'm thinking AI, but like this is legit like art coming from someone's hands. So this just the part that we love and do every day and just kind of are enamored by, but the scale is the part that just always will blow me away and always will again make me a huge fan of yours.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I have a question really quick besides the obvious ones. Has anyone ever commented and said that your dragon is AI?
Well, I had somebody actually argue with me that it wasn't just me and my wife, that it was a big team of people helping me, and I'm like, no, that's not true. It's just me and my wife, and one apprentice built that. So
don't you love that? People just know it's this. Those are the people that hate Elon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's kind of why I do what I do too. I want people to be wowed, not only by the art, but by the scale and to be confused as to how I built it. So
mission accomplished. I was completely confused. I stared at pictures for hours and hours. And I grew up as well in the metal fabrication world. I'm a sheet metal worker and welder from years ago.
Nice.
Kind of changed fields a little bit more on the management side of it now, but never in a million years did I think about building some of the amazing things that you're building.
And honestly, I work day by day, problem by problem, little baby steps. I call it climbing a ladder. So, you're one rung of a ladder, then the next one, then the next one. I never try to get too far ahead, although I'm trying to plan for problems that are coming up, But even for me, I look back at some of my projects and go, that was crazy. I mean, that was a massive undertaking. I don't know how I did it, but it's just one day at a time and takes a lot of time, and eventually they get done. So
yep, it's always impossible until it's done.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, you are a master of your craft, and we can't thank you enough for joining us. I really, I feel like a little kid listening to you talk about these projects. It's absolutely amazing. Can't thank you enough for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I really had fun.
Yeah,
we'd love to have you back again. Well, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get you to carve down to our scale. We'll get you some carving tools, we'll get you to dumb it down for us, and we'll get you to carve a pumpkin or a squash or something.
That'd be cool. I'd be into that.
Dude,
I would definitely be into that. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything you can't do. So I think
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I'd be upset about it because we'd have
Managing my time is getting hard to do.
Chaos equals cash, Kevin.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see what happens next in from Vegas on forward. We'll certainly be watching, and I think we're just, again, huge fans, and we're glad you spent a little bit of time with us today, and hopefully our friends and one nice thing is too, a lot of folks will watch this long after
over and over,
and they'll be like, wait a minute, what? And they'll finally see what they saw virally and be able to see you talking about it and be as geeked out as we are. But here's where you can find us. And we're certainly here every week, and we're again so excited to have someone like you come on and hang out with us. But we're on all the dumb socials and all that stuff. But we've got lots of episodes of folks talk, great creators like yourself. But we are just more, I don't know. Superlatives escape me at this point. I'm just like, dude, I'm super excited that you came on and hung out with us tonight.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Yes, and we'll be looking forward to the 150-foot tall statue of Dolly Parton coming down the pipe in the next couple of years. But, well, from us here at Carvers and Creators to you at home, we appreciate you guys joining us every week, and we will see you again next week for another episode of Carvers and Creators.
Thanks, Kevin.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Have a good night.